Hey everybody, I hope you are 100% ready for a ginormous book haul. I have so many books to tell you about, I'm gonna have to talk faster than I've ever talked before, so we better get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing? As always, I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys are healthy, and I hope that your reading is going very, very well. As I said at the start, this is going to be a ginormous book haul, so you better be getting out your pen, paper, Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able to order a book or two from your local independent bookstore, please do so. If you are a library user, get your library to order a copy. Get this book in your hands and the hands of books in your hands or the hands of others as soon as possible. I really am going to have to talk fast because there is a huge stack here. So a big thank you to all of the publishers that have been sending me books. I know during COVID it has been a stressful situation for publishers and people in the marketing department, a lot of working from home, and I appreciate all the effort it takes to get one book to me, a little channel, way out in California. I really do appreciate it. I want to say thank you to all of you guys so much. So let's get started, okay? Now, you guys know how much I like a book that is a fictionalized account of the lives of authors. I just love it. It's just one of my sweet spots. I just think they're always so much fun. And that's what Bronte's Mistress by Finola is. This is a fictional retelling of an affair that occurred between Bramwell Bronte and his employer, Lydia Robinson. He enters her house to tutor her young son. An affair supposedly occurs, and then there is the gossip. There is the scandal. Her servants try to blackmail her. The city and the town and the people all go crazy. You know, I love a good Victorian drama. Love it. I love a quiet little snide. I just love everything about it. So that's Bronte's Mistress by Finola. This is out now from Atria Books. You can get your hands on it as we speak. I hope that speaks to you guys because it speaks to me. A book that probably needs the least introduction in this pile is currently on the long list for the Women's Prize, and that is The New Wilderness by Diane Cook. This is her debut novel. I think she's had a short story collection come out, and this is out from Harper. The book in the UK has a very different cover. This is the story of a mother and daughter. The mother is trying to save her daughter because she is very, very unhealthy. She's 5 years old. The world is in a dystopian, destroyed by pollution and destroyed by all of that, and she needs to do something in order to save her little girl's life. Now, there is one piece of land called the Wilderness, which is being saved and kept, clean, and people have never been able to go there until now. So the mother and the daughter and 18 other people go into the wilderness to prove whether or not humanity can live there without destroying the environment. As you can imagine, there's going to be all sorts of stuff. It's a dystopian. It's going to have all of that drama about the world going on in it. But at its heart, it's the story of a mother trying to save her daughter. I think Roxane Gay gave this 5 stars. You know I'm a stan Roxane Gay fan, and I know a lot of people have really liked it. So that's The New Wilderness by Diane Cook, out from Harper Books. The next book I'm going to tell you about is also out from Atria, and that is Ordinary Hazards by Bruno. And this is the story of a woman who, on a Wednesday at a bar, 5 o'clock, she goes to her favorite local bar. She's newly divorced. She's been out of her relationship for not a whole lot of time. And she starts talking to the people. And as start of these conversations start to happen, things start to come to the forefront. Her history starts to sort of come together. She has to sort of take stock of what that means for her. Why is she where she is? Is she happy with the decision she's made? What is her freedom like now that she does not any longer have a husband? All of those choices as her history and all of that sort of comes together as she sits at her favorite local bar with people that she knows. So that's Ordinary Hazards by Bruno. This is out now from Atria. I just love, I'm going to call it a quiet novel. I don't know because I haven't read it yet, but I like a book that's sort of like in the people's heads versus sort of the action of it all. You guys know I don't need a lot of plot in my life. I don't. And I just like good writing and good characters. So I'm really excited about that one. The next book that I'm going to tell you about is The Great Offshore Grounds by Vanessa Veselka. And I'm going to hold Vanessa's name up there, Veselka, and I'm saying that horribly, and I'm really, really sorry. And this is out now from Knopf. But I'm going to read you guys this one because it just sounds so good. So on the day of their estranged father's wedding, half-sisters Cheyenne and Livy set off to claim their inheritance. It's been years since the two have seen each other. Cheyenne is newly back in Seattle, crashing with Livy after a failed marriage and a series of dead ends. Livy works refinishing boats, her resentment against her freeloading sister growing as she tamps down dreams of fishing off the Alaska coast. But the promise of a shot at financial security brings the two together to claim what's theirs. Except, instead of money, what their father gives them is information, a name, which both reveals a stunning family secret and compels them to come to grips with it. In the face of their new reality, the sisters and their adopted brother each set out on a journey that will test their faith in one another as well as their definitions of freedom. That sounds so good. This is a chunkster of a book, though, I should say. And it's heavy. It's heavy. That's The Great Offshore Grounds by Vanessa Veselka. Veselka. That's how I'm going to say it. Sorry, Vanessa. I really did try. Okay, a book that I've actually brought up in one of my, I think it was my July releases video, is An Ocean Without a Shore by Scott Spencer. This is out from Ecco. This is about a man who has been in love with another man for many, many years. However, that love has never been reciprocated. The man he's in love with is married with children, and he has never gotten back what he needs from that. But however, the man he's in love with, whose name is Thaddeus, isn't that just like the exact name you would expect for a man that you have like this unrequited love for? Thaddeus's life is not going very well. But our main character, Kip, has to make a decision. Is he going to come to terms with the fact that he may never get what he wants from this relationship? And is he going to do anything to help this man? Or is he going to sacrifice the love for what he knows is better? Or what? What is he going to do? How is he going to do it? This was recommended to me by Matthew Sharapa. You guys all know, huge Matthew Sharapa fan over here. And that's An Ocean Without a Shore by Scott Spencer, out from Ecco Books right now. Okay. Another book that I talked about and an author I absolutely adore is Hieroglyphics by Jill McCorkle. I adore Jill McCorkle. She is one of the sweetest people I have ever met in my entire life. This is the story of a retired couple that retired to North Carolina with really two different things in mind. The wife sits down to go through the family history. She wants to create a family history for her family, her children, her grandchildren. She wants to go through things. She wants to dive into it. The husband, on the other hand, is from the area, and he winds up going to the house where he grew up, and he sort of starts to reminisce. But in that house lives a young single mother and her son, and as he continues to go there, things about her past start to come to fruition as well and come forward, and they all have to deal with that together. Jill McCorkle is one of those authors that she just has such a style that is so soft and inviting, but in the same time can just sort of tug your heartstrings from all these angles. If you meet her, you will understand that her books are an exact representation of her, because she has that way of just being soft and eloquent and sweet and brilliant all at the same time. I hope that makes sense. This is Hieroglyphics by Jill McCorkle. This is out from Algonquin Books. You can get your hands on it now. If you haven't read any Jill McCorkle, please read Life After Life or any of her short story collections. You will not regret it. Okay, I feel like I'm going at a good pace here. I'm going at a good pace. The next book I'm going to tell you about is Motherland by Leah Franqui. This is out now from William Morrow. This book seems to have a little bit of autobiographicalness to it, but this is the story of a woman, a New York woman, who marries a man from Mumbai, I believe. Hold on, let me make sure. Or is her husband from Mumbai? They live in Mumbai. I knew that Mumbai was in here somewhere. So basically we have Rachel. She is a 30-something foodie from New York City. She marries a man and winds up moving with him back to India and living in a house in a new culture and sort of really excited about the adventure, right? Then one day her mother-in-law shows up at the door saying she's left her husband after 40 years, moves in, and it becomes a battle between two strong-willed, independent women that want to run the house their same way. But as they sort of get to know each other, a relationship builds. I am dying. I hope there's so much food description in this because you know I love myself some Indian food. But oh, you know what? I think the other thing of pieces of this is that the husband winds up having to leave on a trip. And so the mother and wife are stuck in the same space alone together. So that is Motherland by Leah Franqui. This is out from William Morrow. I love that cover so much. I think it's beautiful. I take wallpaper in it. Love it. Love it. Okay. A book that I hope needs no introduction, and an author I hope that needs no introduction. So thank you, Harper, so much, because this is Wandering in Strange Lands, A Daughter of the Great Migration Reclaims Her Roots by Morgan Jerkins. Now, Morgan Jerkins wrote This Will Be My Undoing, which was an essay collection that came out a few years ago that I freaking loved. It was so good, you guys. So I'm super excited about this book. I've actually started this one already, but I'm going to read it because it's nonfiction this time, and so I want to make sure I get it right. So it says, between 1916 and 1970, 6 million Black Americans left their rural homes in the South for jobs in cities in the North. If you have the North, the West, and the Midwest, if you have not read Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson, and you need some context regarding the Great Migration, that book will do everything you need in order to explain this. But while this event transformed the landscape of America and provided Black people with new economic opportunities, it also disconnected them from their roots, their land, and their sense of identity. In this fascinating and deeply personal exploration, Megan Jerkins recreates her ancestors' journey from Georgia and South Carolina to Louisiana, Oklahoma, and California. Following in their footsteps, Jerkins seeks to understand not only her own past, but the lineage of an entire group of people who have been displaced, disenfranchised, and disrespected throughout our history. And she's a phenomenal writer, so I can only imagine how personal and how moving and also probably how heartbreaking this whole story is going to be. So that's Wandering in Strange Lands, A Daughter of the Great Migration Reclaims Her Roots by Morgan Jerkins, out now from Harper. Highly, highly recommend Morgan Jerkins' essay collection as well. Okay, halfway done. Doing pretty good. This book I'm super excited about, and I'm trying not to take this beautiful band off, but this is Plain Bad Heroines, and this is by Emily M. Danforth, and this is coming out from William Morrow as well. Emily M. Danforth wrote a book a couple of years ago, I gotta remember, The Miseducation of Cameron Post. It's up here on my shelves, that my friend Julia gave, well, I got it at a book swap, but she brought it. And it is a coming out story of a young girl in Montana. And Julia raved about it. It was worth everything. I know a ton of people loved it. And this is her follow-up. That was more of a YA type, sort of that verge of YA young adult, and like maybe someone in their 20s. And this is her first adult novel. Now, all you need to know about Plain Bad Heroines is the line on the back that says, "The Favorite meets The Haunting of Hill House." Come on, guys. And it says on the front, keep away from impressionable female readers. This is the story of a haunted and cursed New England boarding school for girls. And I think there's nothing else that you need to know about it. Haunted boarding school, young girls, plain bad heroines, keep away from girls. I'm so excited. This is coming out in October 2020 from William Morrow, and that is Plain Bad Heroines. I'm going to do this by Emily Danforth, and I'm so excited about this one. So excited. And as I say that, one of my most anticipated reads of 2020 is the next book we're going to talk about. So I'm excited about it all. And that is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. This is out from Ecco. And again, it also comes out in October of 2020. The story of a couple and their young children that go on a vacation to a small, secluded little home outside of New York City. They're renting it. It's an Airbnb. And one night up shows another couple, the couple that says that they own the house. They say that there's been a massive blackout in New York City, and they have fled to the wilderness to this house that they own for safety. And it becomes this sort of dynamic of these two couples and their the two children coming together in one house, not knowing each other at all. And there's no internet, there's no television, there's nothing. So the people that rented the house can't even sort of check if what's being told to them is correct. They sort of are taking the word of utter strangers. I think it sounds utterly creepy and also very fascinating. I actually have started this one too. I need to really just sit down and finish a bunch of books. He can write. He is a phenomenal writer. So that's Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam, and this is out from Ecco Books in October of 2020. I think it's already been optioned for either a film or a TV show. Everyone is talking about it, so you're going to want to get your hands on it, okay? I talked about this in my historical fiction video, this book, and I said it was coming out in September, but it was just released. So the ARC says September, but I think it came out a little bit early. And that's The Exiles by Christina Baker Klein. Couple of things here. So this starts in England. It's about a young woman who works in a house. She winds up getting pregnant by one of the people that she works for, which it's set in the 1800s. Let me just make sure, because I want to make sure I get the 1800s. Okay. And so she's disgraced. She's actually going to be put in jail, and then she's exiled to Australia. And she's going to be going to what is called, let me get the name for you, Van Diemen's Land. Now, it's a penal colony in Australia. I've been made aware that it's actually in Tasmania. The book says that it's in Australia, and so I don't know when sort of Tasmania became its own country or any of that dynamic. I'm not, up on Australian history probably as well as I should. But she goes to this penal colony. On the way over, she meets someone, and she's going to have the baby. She knows she's going to have the baby on the trip. So she meets this young other woman who has been sentenced to 7 years for stealing a spoon, who has sort of this earthy midwifey feel about her, and they become friends. But when they get there, they find out that the white British settlers have displaced, of course, all of these Aboriginal peoples, and we have another young woman who is displaced but then brought back in, and it's the dynamic and the way these three women's stories wind up together. I got all excited and talking about it. I should have held the book up. And that's Christina Baker Klein's The Exiles. Now, Christina Baker Klein is very, very well known for Orphan Train. And if you were a fan of that, I'm sure you're going to be a fan of this. So that is Christina Baker Klein, The Exiles, and this is out from William Morrow as well. I kind of love the serenity of this cover, sort of with the turmoil that's in the plot. I think that's a very interesting juxtaposition. So get your hands on that one. I thought it was coming out in September. It's out now. You can get it. Trust me. Okay, my friends over at the New York Book Review of Books sent me this. This is coming out, actually it just came out on August 18th. And this is Unwitting Street by Sigismund, and I am not even going to try. I'm not even going to try, you guys. And this is translated by Joanne Turnbull. And I'm just going to read you this really quick. It says, when Comrade Punt does not wake up on one Moscow morning, he has died. His pants dash off to work without him. The ambitious pants soon have their own office and secretary. So begins the first of 18 superb examples of Sigismund's philosophical and phantasmagorical stories. I think that sounds a lot of fun. I always love them. They do so. He is Ukrainian, so this is translated from the Russian, I believe. Yes, translated from the Russian. So that is Unwitting Street by, I'm going to hold his name up there, Sigismund, and then his last name, translated by Joanne Turnbull, and this is out now from New York Review of Books. They're always so good to me and so nice to me. I really appreciate them. I'm hoping that all these books over here don't fall over, but I have a feeling that's going to happen. Okay, so from Catapult Books, no, this is Counterpoint. I always say, let me make sure it's Counterpoint or Catapult. Counterpoint Books, all one umbrella, all lovely, lovely people. And that's The Disaster Tourist by Young Ko-Eun, translated from the Korean by Lizzie Bueller. This is the story of a woman who works for a travel agency that basically sends people to places that have had huge disasters. So that's sort of the premise of their travel agency. And she was one of their up-and-coming people, and something happened and she's been derailed, and she thinks she's going to get fired, but she winds up being offered a job to go to a new location to investigate if it should be added to their repertoire. I don't want to know much more about that. I think it sounds fascinating. So that's The Disaster Tourist by young Ko-Eun, out from Counterpoint Books, translated from the Korean by Lizzie Bueller. Now we're going to do a bit of science fiction and fantasy, and this book is coming out on October 20th in the United States. I'm going to try to they put this paper in here. So this is just the pre-existing, the advanced reader's copy. This is what the actual cover will look like. It's on this piece of paper. And this is Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon-Ha Lee. And let me make sure I don't have to say anything. Yes, okay. Yes. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a translated book. That's Yoon-Ha Lee, Phoenix Extravagant, out from Solaris Press. Dragon's Art Revolution. Jean isn't a fighter or a subversive, just an artist. One day they're jobless and desperate. The next, Jean finds themselves recruited to the Ministry of Armor to paint mythical signals that animate the occupying government's automaton soldiers. But when Jebby discovers the depths of the government's horrifying crimes and the awful source of magical pigments they use, they find that they can no longer stay out of politics. What they can do is steal Arazi, the minister's mighty dragon automaton, and find a way to fight. I read about this, I want to say, in Publishers Weekly, where it got a really good review. So I think it sounds super fun. So that is Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon-Ha Lee, out from Solaris Books. And it came with this really pretty bookmark. So I'm super excited. Out October 20th in the US, out October 15th in the UK. So you can get your hands on it. We're going to go some science fiction now, and that is Architects of Memory by Karen Osborne, out from Tor. This is out in August, so I think you can get your hands on this right now. We have a terminally ill salvage pilot who is doing whatever she can in order to find a cure. If that means doing some crime in order to hold things hostage, her plan is to just borrow, beg, steal her way into whatever she can to find a cure. But she salvages this genocidal weapon and from this starship that they find in space, or I think like on a dead colony, and she uncovers a conspiracy like none other. So I think this is going to be a fun political / science fiction adventure sort of story. So that's Architects of Memory by Karen Osborne, out now from Tor Books. It's a really fun cover too. Last but not least, see, I did pretty good considering the number of books I'm going to talk about, is Deal with the Devil by Kit Rocha. Now, Kit Rocha is actually a pseudonym for a duo of authors, Donna Heron and Bree Bridges. This is out from Tor Books. You can get your hands on this now. I was into this because it says this: Meet the Mercenary Librarians. That's really all I needed. I thought that the cover was cool. But we have Nina. She's an information broker on a mission. She works for this team of mercenary librarians, and their job is to save a hopeless and crumbling America. Unfortunately, we have another character. His name is Knox, and he is going to be sort of our other hero. And he is the captain of the Silver Devils, his squad of super soldiers, but they've gone AWOL because they don't want to slaughter innocent people anymore. And now he and his group are fighting to survive. These two people are now on a deadly collision course. Things are going to happen. Adventure's going to be had. And that's Deal with the Devil by Kit Rocha. Meet the Mercenary Librarians, out now from Tor Books. I would hold this up for you guys, but the pile would be this high. So as always, I want to say thank you so much if you are a return subscriber. I could not do this without you. If you are new to my channel and this is your first video, I hope you stick around. Click down that subscribe, hit that bell, whatever you need to do to make sure you come back for more. As always, I encourage you to shop locally, read globally, and until next time, I wish you guys happy reading. Bye.